Today's training is the Nexsure CRM Session 4, and this is the final session of the CRM training. And we're going to begin today by canceling a policy. So you can cancel policies for any number of reasons. We can cancel them due to non-payment of premium by their carrier, request from our client. We could be canceling it ourselves for some reason. Carrier might be requesting cancellation for some other reason. So there could be any number of reasons why you might be canceling a policy. So I'm going to go into the client record here, and I want to remind you that you can right-click there if you want to use your shortcuts. And I'm going to go to servicing on the client menu. That's really my ultimate goal here, is to get to the servicing screen. And then under services on the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to click on cancellation. Okay, now here it's saying this option is used to generate a cancellation form or indicate a policy is pending cancellation or has been canceled. Enter the cancellation effective date. So here it's asking us to enter in the effective date of the cancellation. So if the client's called and asked you to cancel the policy, then we want to make sure that we get that date from them so we can populate it here. Okay, and then right here again, just like always, I'm just highlighting the word process, and I'm going to paste actually I just want 2014 in there. And then over here by cancellation, I'm going to put in the date of cancellation. Then I'm going to put in the rest of it. So this one is going to be non-payment of premium. Okay, and again, this could just as easily be request of insured. So I'm just typing that in, whatever it is. The drop-down box, I'm going to choose whatever it is. I have to choose something in all of these drop-down boxes before Generate Cancellation will light up, and I have to select the policy. Now if I had right-clicked on the details icon of the policy, that would mean being on policies, right-clicking the details icon, and then click cancellation. This one will already be selected. Let me show you that just so you kind of see. I'm going to copy that so I don't have to type it over again. So policies, right-click, service, cancellation. See how it's already selected the record down here, and it's also highlighted in yellow. And that's what happens when we right-click on most of these servicing events. Not all, but most of them. Okay, I'm going to paste in my little description that I copied before. And then I'm going to select my cancellation method. So you'll notice that right now, Generate Cancellation is still not lit up. I have the policy selected. So that's because I haven't chosen something from each one of these drop-down boxes. Generate Cancellation, so just make the appropriate choices there. You'll notice that on this screen that we have this red font, and the red font indicates a pending cancellation, and it tells us that right here, the status. I also want to point this out. The coverage term expiration date is the date that we entered in on the servicing screen. Okay, and that's what we would expect to see whenever we're canceling a policy, is the policy coverage term is expiration date is going to change to whatever we enter on the servicing screen. Notice here too that your action is open. Okay, there's a pending cancellation form over here, and if you are canceling it because the client has requested the cancellation, then certainly since I need to let them sign it, I'm going to go through and populate it. If we're cancellating it for non-payment of premium, then I don't need to do that. There's not a whole bunch to this form, and most of it you'll find is already populated. But I do want my producer signature in here. So again, we go down, find the signature, click the little button, select whoever it is that we want to sign, and click pre-fill, and then that's going to populate that part of your form. Next, previous, save changes, all of those things are going to save, or clicking on any link in the open form. Clicking on the list link in the navigation toolbar is another way that we can populate the form. And I'm just going to bring it up so you can kind of see how it's pretty much got everything in there. There's some, of course, that isn't, that you might want to populate. So again, if you do need this form because your client's going to sign it, go through and finish it out. A best practice, of course, is to print it before you send it out to anybody. You want to make sure that it has all the information in it that you need. And I could print it here by clicking that little printer icon. So if I just needed this form, even though the carrier is going to ultimately cancel it via the download, you can go ahead and do this. I could print it and mail it to my client, or you can deliver it, and then you can come in and abort this and just wait for the download to come in. So that's something you could do. I'm going to go ahead and close that. If you
Hey, Mary.
Yeah.
Sorry, really quick. I just noticed in the bottom of the form when I viewed it, the date is blank for your producer signature. It has your signature in there, but not the date. If we just send this right from the system, does it automatically date it for us, or? So if you look at the form to print, like you print and preview it.
I don't think it's going to populate anything that's not on it.
Okay.
Where does the date?
So,
where is the date?
If you go print.
Yeah, I know that, but on here, I was trying to find it in the form for you.
Oh, so we could put it in there.
Oh, right here you're talking about by the producer's signature. Date. Let's see where it goes. Subcode. I don't see that. That's a request date.
First signature date is what it should have. Because typically you'd have to date that before you send it out to somebody, wouldn't you?
Signature, second. First signature, that's witness. Agency. Distribution. I don't know. I don't see that in here, so I don't know. That's nobody's ever asked me that question before. Never ever even occurred to me.
If you're sending it, if you save it to your computer and then you send it, then it's not dated. Like you've signed, but electronically, but you haven't dated it. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Cancellations,
anyway.
Maybe not. Don't know. Otherwise, I think somebody would have said something about it. Let's see what that looks like. Nope, no date. And I don't see that date field is in there anywhere, so I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe some kind of criteria from a court. I don't know. I'll just get a copy of it and I'll ask about it. But that's all I can do. Maybe they know something I don't know.
Okay, not to get us too sidetracked. Sorry about that.
Okay, so anyway, back to this. If you do have to deliver it out, you can go ahead and pull it in, fill in your information. Now, I know I've told you this before. If you're sending this out to your, and anyway, I can just paste that in there. No, I can't either. I copied something else. 2014 cancellation. This is your title. Make sure you don't forget to put something in here. I've got the little address book here. If I choose contacts, it's going to bring up my client contacts. If you're sending it to the carrier, don't forget you want to change this and search for whoever it is that you want to send this to. And there's your information. Once you get all this filled in, you're going to send it off to whomever it goes to. I'm going to go back to the underwriting tab, and then from here we're going to post the cancellation. So we're going to click on post cancellation. When we post the cancellation, it's going to send it to history. Now before I do that, I do want to show you what happens from the home screen. So let me go ahead, I'm going to take you there, because you're not going to have a big old list of clients with pending canceled policies somewhere. You want Nexsure to keep that for you. So Nexsure is going to keep it on the home screen under the cancellations link here. There it is. If I'm the owner of the agency and I want to see all of these pending cancellations, well, by golly, I can just take my name out of there, hit search, and then I'm going to be able to see everything that's going on in our agency. Or if we're not assigned to anything, and that's how we just work off of what needs to be done. So these are all my pending cancellations. It's not too bad. We only have 10 on one page, so that's 11. So if I click that white details icon, I want you to remember that if I am on the cancellation screen, it's going to take me into the underwriting page, which is going to save me several clicks. I don't have to navigate back to search to get in here. Now if I just created that little form so that I could bring that in to Nexsure so my client could sign it, and I already delivered it, I recorded a permanent record somewhere in Nexsure, I can abort it. Okay, if I'm waiting for the download to come in and bring in the cancellation. Or if for some reason maybe you just did it incorrectly, picked the wrong policy, I've got the ability to abort that. Posting it is going to send it to history, and it does ask me to tell it why I'm aborting it right here. Okay, so I'm going to choose one of these three. You'll see these in your live site. You could add to this list if you need to. Okay, and then here I'm going to put in why it's canceling. So this is the 2014 cancellation for non-payment. And I'm going to save it. Okay, and it's got a gray background on it now. And it says, hey, the status is now canceled. So if I click on policies, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get this little message that says, hey, you don't have anything out here. So what do you want to do? It's just telling me here that there's not anything. So your filters could be set incorrectly, or you could go to history. You could reset and change your filters, or you can cancel and go to marketing. Well, I usually just hit reset here, but you could do any of those things. Mainly, I always check this because sometimes I get in a hurry, when I'm searching for things, I might have like a policy number in here or something, and I hit save. And now when I go to another client, that's still in there. Because these filters, when we save them, are for us. They're not for the client record. So do keep that in mind. If you hit save and you saw something in there, all you have to do is hit reset. It'll take it back to the Nexsure default so you can see whatever's in there. Well, this guy doesn't have anything. There's no policies out here. There's nothing set in any of these filters. So I click history and there it is, sitting out on the history tab. Now if I go back to home and I look at cancellations, I won't see this under pending cancellations anymore because it's a canceled policy. So if I click on the details icon, I can bring it back out of history if I need to by clicking the reinstate link, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this out of history by clicking the reinstate link, and I might do that if the carrier has reinstated it. Okay, so they reinstated. Okay, and it says, are you sure you want to reinstate this policy? If I am, I'm going to click OK. If I'm not, I'm going to click cancel. So OK, and it's going to pull it out of history, and it won't be back in history anymore. So if I went back to history, it'd be empty. You'll notice on here that now it has a reinstated status. So when you cancel and reinstate, that's what happens. And then also, nicely done, over here on the right side of the screen, on our navigation tab, is the cancellation. So every time you cancel and reinstate, it's going to add a little notation out here. So this is the form too. So if I opened it up, I'd see that little form that we created. The claim date down here, or the claim form, is where we entered our claim before. So that's going to be out there, and then there's your endorsement too. So every time you're doing something to your policy with regards to endorsements, cancellations, claims, it's going to keep them over here on your navigation tab. Alright, so that is how we do a cancellation and reinstate it. So I want you to go ahead, if you would, for your exercise, and the policy that you've been working on, I'm going to go ahead and have you cancel that policy and post the cancellation, and then go ahead and reinstate it. So everybody remember that. Access your client from search, click the details icon, click servicing, cancellation, enter in all your information and choose your policy. Generate cancellation, and then you're going to post it and then reinstate. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, I'm going to cancel it again. Show you the other option. Okay, so again I could right click, go to service, go to cancellation, and this time I'm going to cancel mine on the 19th. Okay, and then I'm going to select the method, and the reason, my policy's already selected because I right-clicked. Generate cancellation. This time I'm just going to post it by clicking the post cancellation link on the navigation toolbar. Same thing here. This time I want to show you how to rewrite a policy. Now what do we use that for? Rewrite might be used if the carrier is canceling the policy, maybe for underwriting reasons. You sent them something and they thought when they talked to you that yeah, it would fit but then when they got it, they decided it didn't fit at all. So they're giving you 30 days to find someplace else to write it. Or they canceled for non-payment of premium. The client paid, but there was a lapse. So they're going to reinstate it, but there's going to be a lapse in the coverage term. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite it so we can change our policy term. Okay, so if I click on the rewrite link, what it does is it'll leave this out in history, and it'll get a copy of it and put it in marketing for us. And it's only going to copy the application. It's not going to bring over the endorsements, the cancellations, the claims. Those are going to stay with this original record. When I click OK, it'll make a copy. If I click cancel, it won't. Okay, so now I'm back on marketing again. You've seen this one before. Okay, so the stage is marketing and the status is rewritten. The first thing that I want to do, if I have to update anything in my application, and I do, I've got to get the dates corrected. I want to change this to pending, because if I leave it on anything other than pending, I won't be able to update anything in that application. So I change it to pending, and then I'm going to alter my date here. So it's going to be effective on the 22nd now. And I'm going to choose annual. They're changing the whole thing, and I'm going to hit apply. It says don't forget to save changes. So I click OK. If you were rewriting it with another carrier, then you would certainly change your carrier here. I'm going to click on Save Changes. And then the information is going to get updated in my application. Always check it. Make sure that the billing section did get updated with the information. Now here it didn't get updated, so I'm going to do it. So it's always the billing section that holds the information from the header. I'm going to save changes. I'm going to pop on down here to the auto. I'm going to go to the billing section. Same thing. I want to check it, make sure if there is that part in there, I want to make sure to put it in. Save changes. Anything else that needs to be changed, I'm going to change. If I need to change anything on the policy info tab, so if the premium was a little different or what have you, you want to make sure that you go there and you also include that information. So edit by clicking the details icon, and let's say it went up $5. Just going to change it. I'm going to scroll on down, and there's my information there. I got a little bit of a display issue. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, oops, I didn't mean to get out of there. Marketing. Okay, and once this is all done, before you enforce it, you want to make sure that you've got your status set back to rewritten. Don't enforce it if it really needs to have a status of rewritten as a pending, because if you do, it's going to just say enforce instead of rewritten. So make sure you got that changed. Check the date, check everything on it, hit Save Changes, and then you can enforce it. And that'll move it from this marketing record to a enforce policy. So I'm going to enforce it. Save. I don't need a binder on this one, and I don't need that little action to help me keep track of when I receive the policy, because I already have it. I also want to edit my little action here. So I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to close it. This one was reinstated. I also probably am going to want to document that on my history policy. Always want to document what we're doing. So if I want to get to history, policies, history tab, and you'll notice that that policy record is out here still. If I hit the hyperlink, right there, the little circle, I can also edit the action from here by clicking the little yellow icon. Okay, so I'll just do the same thing, reinstated. And then I save it. So there it is. I'm going to go back over here to policies, and there's my newly rewritten policy. And if I open it up, you'll see over on the right it doesn't have all of those things that happened on the cancellation. Okay, also if I do need to invoice a cancellation, it's sitting out in history if you canceled it. So if I really did need to invoice that, you can head on out here to the history tab, locate it, and just to remind you of that process, it's the transactions tab, add new invoice, and here again I want to remind you that this screen is set up to just bring forward whatever's on the policy info tab. Okay, now we always want to make sure our bill type is correct, and this one says cancellation. So that's what I want. I go down to premiums, and look, it's brought in information from the policy info tab. All you have to do is edit it. This is just to give us that starting point so we don't have to do it from nothing. So put in the premium. If it's a return, put a minus in front. If it isn't, just put in the amount. Click OK. And that's what we're invoicing. Okay, this one probably should have been a credit because it's a cancellation. So I realized that, and I go back, I edit it again, and I put that minus in, and see how it's displayed in parentheses. Check the rest of it. This is good to go, and so we're going to go ahead and post it. Post now. Click OK. We do provide reverse links up here if you should need to reverse them. Reverse now means to reverse it out exactly the way it was put in. So if the cancellation was rescinded, I can always reverse now. Reverse and rebill will give me a copy of the invoice after it's reversed it. Nexsure reverses it out just the way you put it in. There's no guesswork about how to get it out. You don't have to remember it. So reverse now. And I can put a little note on there if I want to. I'm just going to click OK here. And it's reversed. It says right on it, reversed. It also has the dual numbers up here, which shows the in and the out. Transaction summary takes me back out where we can see where we invoiced that, and then we took them right back out. So just to let you know how that process works. Let's go ahead next, and we're going to talk about renewing policies. Now before I move on to that, anybody have any questions for me on cancellations? Nobody? Okay. We're going to talk about renewals now. Okay, so the first thing that you want to know is what's expiring anyway. How do we know? Well, for the average everyday worker, the way that we would find out our policies that are coming up for renewal is to go to the home screen. Home, on the utility menu, and we're going to click on the expirations link. You'll notice here that we have some of these records out here that have a red details icon. Okay, and these are policies that have already expired, and you can also see it from the red date. Okay, an orange date indicates that the policy is coming up for renewal, not quite there yet. Okay, we can also change our filters on this screen. So if I click on the show link by the word filters, now I have mine already set because I was playing with this earlier today, and I checked this little box and I saved my own filter settings. I'm going to bring it back to the Nexsure defaults. So I uncheck the box and I hit search, and then I'm going to click here on expirations. If I go back to show, you'll notice that it's now back at the Nexsure defaults, okay, because that little box is not checked. And the reason I know is because it's going to take you back 30 days for the from date, from whatever the current date is, and then 30 days into the future in the to date field for the expiration date. If you want to set your own save filter settings, I'm going to remind you that it's as easy as checking the box. And again, if you're working for somebody else and you're never assigned to the policies, you probably don't want your name in there. You might want the producer's name, or maybe nobody's name if you're the owner. Click the little date variable icon, and then here I'm going to go back 5 days. So I'm just going to put a minus in the from field to go back 5 days. Notice how it changed. I do the same thing on the to date field, and I'm going to go 120 days into the future. I'm going to hit search, and now every time I come back to that screen every day, it'll automatically change depending on what the date is today. Okay, now I have some out here that are coming up for renewal, but just so you guys can kind of refresh the process of how to add a policy, and I kind of also want to go through the steps of how we just put a policy into Nexsure in general. So this is just kind of a recap of what you've already done before. And if you guys have dual monitors, does everybody have dual monitors sitting in today?
Yes.
Okay. Nobody else? Okay. If you don't have, I don't know, you might just want to watch this. If you do have dual monitors, I want to encourage you to follow along with me on the opposite monitor and do the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to add a policy. Now, what kind of policy are you adding if you're, what kind of client do you have if you're following along with me? Is it commercial or personal?
I'm commercial.
Commercial. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up our client, and we're going to go to servicing. And I just want to show you how to add a policy or a marketing record into Nexsure, one that you just need to add. This is going to be one that's going to expire tomorrow, and we need to get it into Nexsure so that we can renew the policy. So I'm going to put in the date as 12/19, and the expiration date is actually going to be 12/19/2014, so the effective date will be 2013. 12/19/2013. So I want you to do the same. I'm going to replace the word process with 2013. In this one, what we're doing is we're adding this to our Nexsure system. So I'm just going to put add to Nexsure. Okay, and then down here in the list of the applications that are available, I want to do a package policy so that you guys will know how to do these. I'm going to scroll down, And a good way to do this too, to quickly get to the area that you need, if there's a big list like I have, if you click on the list anywhere in the list and type a G, it'll take you down to the first G in the list. If you press the G again, it'll take you to the next G in the list. And I wanted general liability here. If you're following along and you're doing personal lines, you might choose homeowner. So I'm going to select general liability, and then I'm clicking back over there again on any item, and then I'm going to press the P on my keyboard because I want property next. And from there, it's easiest just to scroll down, and then I select property dash commercial, and I'm going to select that. Selecting more than one line of business will create a package policy. Click Create Marketing. Okay, the issuing carrier, I'm going to choose from the drop-down box, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose, we'll do Penn National here. I have the policy number already because after all, I'm just adding it to my Nexsure site. My policy description, this is just a package policy, so that's all I'm going to put in here. Notice the policy term says 12/19/2013 to 12/19/2014. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to save changes by clicking the Save Changes link in the navigation toolbar, and then this little pop-up comes up. I'm going to go ahead and get my defaults, so I'm going to hit Reset. That lets me get my carrier commission defaults that I have. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do, because I have a coverage template out here that I want to use, but I'm going to start with the base requirements form by clicking the plus. So if I were doing a homeowner, I would do the same thing. Just click on the plus by the homeowner and then find the part of the form in here that says locations. This one for commercial lines always uses the words premise. We're going to click on that. Click the lookup link, and that's going to let you get your location addresses from client level. Select the box, and then I hit prefill, and it drops that in for me. I want to edit it because I don't have a premise number or building number. So remember, to edit anything that's a scheduled item, you have to click the details icon to open it up. I'm going to put in my building 1, and my location 1, and I'm going to click Summary to save it. Okay, I want to go back. That's all I want to do on that one, and I want to go back to underwriting because I want to use my template. So when you're using the templates to populate your forms, you want to go back to header level. I'm going to click on the plus by the general liability and the plus by the 126. Now if you're doing homeowner, it's the same thing except it's homeowner. No difference. You click on the template link, and then in here for homeowners there's one out there, I know, and then for commercial lines, scroll down to the bottom and just pick up one of these items that I've done, like this one. 1 mil, 2 mil. Oh, actually I didn't do that one. Let's do the other one, the bottom one. And populate. When you click the populate, it tells us at the top that it populates your form. So I'm going to close it. Going to open up the property, and we're going to do the same thing. Ordinarily you probably wouldn't do this on a property, but I want to do it just so we have something in here. Template. I'm going to use the bottom one. And click populate. tells us that the application was successfully populated. I click cancel. Next on the property, I do want to open up the premise info because that's a location is going to come from whatever was on that form. So I'm going to change it, and the way I can do that easily is to click the details icon. Click the lookup link. This will allow me to pull it from the 125 and then pre-fill. And it's going to go over and replace that information that was in there. If I go down to the subject of insurance, you'll see that that information's already in there. So I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm not going to change it. That's the advantage of having a template. Now, if it didn't work good for you, then obviously you could go in and just edit it by clicking the details icon. We're going to say this is just exactly what we want. Okay, so now I've got my application all created, and I'm going to go to the Policy Info tab, and we're going to edit this. So I click the Edit link. This is Agency Bill, and I click OK. I go down to the Premiums. This is what the Premium section looks like, and I did want to make sure that you guys had an opportunity to view this. The package policy has, in this case, 3 different lines on it: the package total, the GL, and the property. If you're going to get downloads from your carriers, I usually tell people, since you're going to get a download and you probably have no idea how the carrier is going to download it to you, you probably don't want to put anything in here. Just let the download do it, because if you guess wrong, you could be doubling the premium. So when you're in your book of business report, it won't be right. So if I'm entering it manually, how do I handle it? Manually, you can enter the premium either on the package total line item or by the line of business. You don't want to do both, because Nexsure is going to tally all of that up, and it would inflate it if you did. So I'm going to click on the details icon by the general liability, and I'm going to put in my premium. If it's taxable, make sure you mark it as taxable. I'm going to keep this one simple. No tax. Details icon on the property, and I'm going to put in the property premium. If it's taxable, mark it. Okay, so I've got all that in. Now I want to go down. I do have a fee, so I'm going to add the fee. Add new fee. Okay, this is going to be a fee for the invoice, and then I can choose whatever kind of fee it is that I need to be adding here. So I'm going to choose the broker fee, and my service provider here is going to be the broker. You see there's 2 choices here, and it just depends on how they're set up in your Nexsure site as to what you're, and who it's due to as to what you're selecting. This one's going to go to the broker, and the broker in Nexsure is the same as the billing carrier. Click OK, and I'm going to change my description up here. This is actually a policy fee. It's a flat fee, and they're charging $120 flat fee. So you're entering in the flat amount here. If it had been a rate type percent, you'd be entering in a percent here. I'm going to tab, and notice that when I tab off of it, the estimated field automatically becomes populated. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to scroll on down. I've got my agency commission, and down here I've got my other commissions. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure that you remember is that the production credit right here needs to equal 100% for each commission line item on this screen. So I've got a package total up here that's got a commission on it, I've got a general liability, and I've got a property. I would expect to find those down here with 100 by it. Now if you see 6 lines down here, then you have two producers maybe sharing the production credit. You can either come in here and change it to like an 80-20 split or something, or you can have Nexsure auto-allocate it by clicking the auto-allocate link. If you change anything, either here or here, the save link will light up. You want to make sure to click that, and that will allow you to save it. Remember, the goal is to have 100% production credit. Okay, I'm going to go back to underwriting, and now we're ready to enforce this. And again, best practice is before you enforce any marketing record, check the date. Very important. Otherwise, you'll find yourself doing extra work that you don't want to really do. So if that's right, carrier, and all that information is correct, you're ready to enforce it. But remember, if you do change anything, you have to save changes first. Enforce.
So Mary, on mine, it didn't show on the last screen where you go down and you were talking about the other commissions, the 100%.
Uh-huh.
Mine doesn't show anything that says that no valid commission defaults exist for other commissions.
Okay, and with that,
it wouldn't let me enforce it either.
Okay, and that's right, and you'll get an error every time for that. And what it means is that you don't have your assignment set up correctly.
So I have to add new other commission?
You need to go to the assignment tab, and then right here you probably only have yourself in there, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you want to add assignment and make me the producer. And enforce.
Got it.
And then we're just going to save here. There's no need to do a binder. We're just putting it in Nexsure. And then for the action that's popping up here, I can just close it. I don't even have to wait on it to come up because I'm not going to use it for this. And we both now have an enforced policy. Okay? And that's how you're going to get your policy records into Nexsure when we're doing it manually. Okay, so now let's go back and check our home expiration screen. And we should see our policies out there now. So if I go home, I click on the expirations link. There's mine. And then yours is probably over here on the next screen. I forgot what the name of yours was, but do you see yours?
Yes, it is Natalie Merchantile.
Oh, okay. That one. All right, so good. So now we have them and showing up on this home expiration screen. Now the thing I would like to tell you about the home expiration screen, if I click the show link, you'll notice in the policy statuses, it has a lot of statuses in there, but because of the way this home screen works, it's dynamic and it keeps this screen up to date with what needs to be done. So what does it omit from the list? It omits the statuses of renewed, because when you've renewed a policy, it doesn't need to be out here. It also omits the policy status of future, and future is a policy that has been renewed in Nexsure, but it's not quite finished yet. It's not quite ready to be the new image of the policy, which you're going to see how that gets created in a minute and how we can make that go away. Okay, so if I have to look at future ones, you go to the binder log under the view of bound future, no open binder. Okay, so we'll see that in a little bit, but just kind of wanted you to know where to go. All right, now the other way that you can look at your reports is to run a expiration report. from Nexsure. Now, not everybody will be able to do that, just the administrators typically, or somebody who has report security. So to do that, you click on the Reports link on the primary menu. You click on the Reports link on the Report menu. And then in the pop-up box here, we want an expiration report, so that has to do with policies. So that's where it's going to be. Okay, and there's several expiration reports out here that you can run. Okay, one of them is the expiration XDR. Another one is the expiration XL export. The expiration XDR, any of the reports with the XDR will begin to run as you launch them. So they work a little different. They're not saved in Nexsure. This one is saved in Nexsure. So I'm going to go ahead and show that one. Pretty much the same as this one, but it doesn't immediately begin to run. Okay, so to create a new report, you'll have some reports out here if you've ever run any, but when you first start out on Nexsure, this bottom part of the screen will be empty. You'll notice that this screen looks like all the other screens in Nexsure in that it has a navigation toolbar. And these little words on the toolbar are links. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to click New Report Criteria because I want to create a new report. Right here, we're going to enter in the description of our report. So I'm going to run this for December. December 2014. And I'm going to run it for a particular territory too. And one of the things before I do this, I want you, if you're following along in your alternate monitor, go down here and hover over the OK button. It probably won't light up for you like it's lighting up for me. What that means is your security level is a little bit lower than organization level. So what that means is in order for you to even run the report, you have to click on the Select link. And then I usually just choose Territory. Click Add. And that will let me run my report. I'm going to click OK. So it's really limiting the level that you can run the report from. I'm going to take this, drag it up here because I want that to be a part of my name. This is a part of the description so that when I'm looking at the list of reports out here, I know what I ran it for. Okay, anything that you have in the from and to field is what the report is going to return the results for. Now certainly you can use this drop down box right here to populate those fields. But you can also type over it. So let's say that I wanted to run this for November, from November to December. I can just change it, and that's what it's going to run it for. I really want it for December though. I'm going to scroll on down. This is such a cool little report because it'll let you run it for all different kinds of things. So the billing company, the issuing company, I might run this report if I had a book of business that I had to move from one carrier, place it somewhere else. This would let me do that. You could run it for a client. So it's got all different kinds of things in here that you can choose. I'm just going to click OK. It only runs one format, which is Excel. Anytime you see a blue font there, that means that you've requested a report and it's working on it. So if you want to see if it's done, you can either go run another report and come back and look, or you can click on the refresh link here on the navigation toolbar. There it is. I'm going to click on the view icon. Click open. and it's going to open up the Excel report here in just a few seconds. There it is. Okay, if you click on the top row, right click on that one that has expiration export on it. Just right click on it, on the number 1. Click delete, and it'll delete that row. Then click that little box right there above the number 1, and what that does is it selects the entire spreadsheet. Next thing I want to do is kind of expand it so I can read it a little bit better. So what you do is you take your mouse and come up here between any of the letters until you see the crossbars, and then if you double click, it'll expand every cell going across so that you can read it. What I typically do next is I sort it. So I'll go up to Sort and Filter, click Custom Sort, and then I'm going to tell it what I want to sort by. Now my data does have headers, and it knows that. Since I deleted that top line out of it, it can find it. Days to expire, and I'm going to sort it smallest to largest. I click OK, and there it is. What you want to look for here is, of course, the minuses. Those ones look like they haven't been renewed, but if you look over here in the status column, you can see that they have been renewed. What that means, if you see one with a renewed status, is that it just hasn't been sent to history yet. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the process of going through the renewals as well. So renewed means we've renewed it. And there's some future ones down there too. You see those? Those won't show up on my home expiration screen. So it's not good that they sat out there like that for a whole year. So we don't want to leave them like that forever. Future. And I'll show you how to get those done too. Alright, so there's your little report. You can save that to your computer if you want to, or you can just, you know, close it and it'll still be out there for you to open it up again, provided that nobody goes in and deletes it. I'm going to close it. It says, do you want to save it? I don't. And now I'm going to go back to search. I want to get back into my client so I can work on the renewal. Now sometimes we need to renew our policies by just renewing them, and sometimes we need to remarket them. Okay, so I'll talk about both as we go through the workflow. And the first thing I'll start with is, if I have a client and I want to give them their coverage information. There's a couple of ways I might do that. I could click on Policies on the Client menu. And you'll notice here on the client level there's a Summary of Insurance tab. Okay, this is going to give me a summary of coverages for this client. Now I'm looking at all of the coverages. So if you really wanted to isolate it down to just one, you could do that by, I could right click on this details icon and click Summary of Insurance, or you could click on the details icon, and from the underwriting screen there's a Summary of Insurance tab out there. This is actually going to take me right to that tab. You can see I'm at underwriting now. I am on the Summary of Insurance tab, so this will let me go to that level. I also have these check boxes up here that I can check, where I can include information, other things. If I hit refresh view, then it's going to refresh the view. Okay, so there it is. If you want to print it, you can print it. Whatever's in the display below is what's going to print. You can export it to Word or Excel, and whatever's down below is what's going to be exported. So if I excluded something, it wouldn't be exported. Or I could nick it. And nick means Nexsure Instant Collaborator. Okay, and what it does is it allows you to send your client a temporary login just to this page. They don't have access to the checkboxes or anything on the right, only the details of the below. So what you want to do here is just give them a little note of what it is that they're expected to do. You can allow them to log in for so long. Okay, and then you also have to have the client contact email address added in Nexsure to that record in order to be able to choose it here from the drop-down box. Okay, so those are some things that you can do. You could also do document template like we did the other day. Remember when we went to attachments? Whoops. Let me try that again. Attachments, and then add new attachment and create document with a template. So that's another way if you have a template created. If you need to remarket it, okay, I want to go through that process. We would go to the servicing screen here by going to servicing, and then you could choose existing line of business. Okay, so it's marketing, and instead of new business I selected existing line of business. And what that's going to let us do is to create marketing applications out of the ones that we previously populated. So I could choose all of these if I need to include them all. So if they're expiring on the same date, I'd probably do that. If not, if you just need the two. Now I could right click on the details icon too and choose market existing, but if you do that, it's just going to create a marketing record just for that one, so you wouldn't get a chance to pull in other policies like we do here from the servicing screen. Okay, up at the top it says enter the desired effective date. Well, I don't need that when you're remarketing really, because Nexsure will take the policy expiration date on the record that I choose and they get the effective date. So I really don't have to worry about that here. I am going to enter in my description. So this is a 2014 and we are remarketing the policy. This is a package policy. And I'm going to start out by remarketing it with the existing carrier. Okay, so I've got them checked, and then also want to define these for you. This little box right here, refresh form pre-fills, is going to allow you to refresh your application that you already created with information if you updated it at client level. So what that means is maybe I went into the applicant and named insured, the primary one, and I changed something on it, like the name. Or maybe I went to the primary location address and I added suite number to it. Okay, so the things that would ordinarily populate into any new application is what this is going to update. Refresh assignment can be used in any of the following ways. I have changed my primary assignment, my employee who's assigned to it on the assignment tab, the primary one, to somebody else. The old producer left and now we've got a new one, or the old account manager left and we got a new one. I updated our address in Nexsure for that particular branch who's sitting out there as the primary client level, and I want to update it on my applications. Okay, so those are just some reasons that you might choose that refresh assignment. I'm going to click Create Marketing next. I didn't do either of those things, so I didn't check the boxes. And when I do, it's going to create a marketing application for me out of those policy records. So it just took and copied the applications. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose my carrier. And again, I'm just going to do this one with the same carrier that I had on there before. Anytime you change anything in the header, you want to hit Save Changes, right? Also, notice the date got bumped. I didn't do that. Nexsure did it for me. Hit Save Changes. And then I want to hit Reset if I want to get my commission defaults. Okay. Over here in the form, you want to make sure you open up your form, go into it, and update anything that you need to update. It did go ahead and bump up my dates for me. So you just go ahead and check out everything that you need to check out and change it according to whatever the client said he wanted you to do. Once we get that done, if you're sending it out to the carrier for a quote, remember that's clicking this little envelope right here, which is going to send it out to delivery so that you can email or fax your client to let them know to quote it for you. If I am quoting it in-house and I just went out and I quoted it, I rated it, I did all that, I'm going to go over to the Policy Info tab and enter in the premium information. So I'm going to pop on down here to the premiums, and I'm going to edit the information. So again, you just want to put in the information that you have. Just going to keep this pretty quick and simple here. Okay, I'm going to go down to the agency commissions. I'm going to go to the other commissions. I want to check and make sure everything's correct. Again, you might want to check your assignment tab. Make sure that you do have the producer on there who's getting the commission or production credit. Okay, so that's done. Now I really want to market this guy. Now I remember showing you this before. Remember right-clicking on the details icon on the marketing record and clicking on mass marketing. That's where you can choose the different carriers. Okay, this one is market existing, and I talked about it a minute ago, but I didn't show it to you, so let me do that now. Market existing will take a copy of the application and put it right into marketing. But it's not adding the carriers to it like the mass marketing does. It's going to leave that up to me when I get here. So on this one, I'm going to choose auto owners. Okay, my date's fine. I'm going to hit Save Changes. And I'm going to do Reset. Again, go into it, make sure that all the information is good for this carrier. Again, it got my information. I'm just going to change it accordingly. Okay, just to remind you, the envelope to email or fax. When you get your quote in, Policy Info tab, this is all repeats of what we've done before. Edit if you need to change the bill type. Premiums if you need to change the premiums. Or add the premiums when you get your quote, I should say. Make it taxable if it's taxable. If it's not taxable, then you don't need to worry about it. Check your commissions. Check your producer. If everything is good, then I don't need to edit it. If it isn't, then I might need to edit the information. Okay, so remember, for all of the client records or you've got marketing records going on, if you want to look at all of the marketing records for all of the clients that you're assigned to, where do we go for that? Does anybody remember? I've been going back there every time to show you. Does anybody remember?
Home and then marketing.
Excellent. Good job. That's exactly right. Home and marketing. Great. Excellent. Okay. So that is exactly what we do. That's where we keep track. Nexsure's doing it all for us so that we don't have to guess about it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to enforce one of these records in here, but actually we're not going to enforce it. This is not new. This is something that we need to renew. So what you want to do is refrain from enforcing it. Why? Because look at it. It has a new mode on it. So if it needs to be renewal, guess what the mode's going to be again next year if you enforce it for marketing? It's going to say new on it again and again and again, and that doesn't help our book of business at all. So we really want to go through the renewal process. Okay, so to go through the renewal process, you're going to go to servicing on the client menu. And you're going to click on renewal. Okay. Up here we're going to enter in what we're doing. This is the 2014. This is a renewal and it's for the package policy. Okay, and put any details in there that you need to put in. That goes in the memo section. That's our action. The policy that's expiring is this one. We can clearly see it. Whenever we see circles, we can only choose one. When we see check boxes, you can choose multiples. This one only has a circle. And it even tells us select policy for renewal. And also up here it says this option is used to renew policies. So I'm going to click next. Okay, now we're on our renewal screen. Now if I were just renewing this and I didn't remarket it, I didn't have something in marketing to use, all I would do here is click next. But because I do have something in marketing and that's the application that I want to use, the first thing I'm going to do here is unselect these applications, and that's what these are. And we see them up here at the top. This is telling us what the renewal is going to consist of, and that's the one I selected on the prior screen, so that's not the one I want. So I uncheck these apps and it's going to remove them from the top. Okay, so now I've got nothing. And in fact, I can't even move forward right now. The next link is grayed out. So we click Show, and I change the policy stage over here to include marketing, or I could choose marketing only. If I'd accidentally sent that marketing record to history, I could choose yes here and get it out. Okay, I didn't do that, so I'm going to hit search. Okay, and now I have my list of policies out here. And I'm looking at the marketing ones except for that one that's expiring. Okay, down here you're going to choose the one that you want. Now since it's expiring with Penn National, I'm going to go ahead and choose auto owners. So as I check these, it's adding the applications up to the top. There it is. Okay. Now, if you want to, you could, if I were renewing it with Penn National again, of course I would have chosen the Penn National applications. But up here on the header right now, it's pulling that from the current in-force policy. And I don't really want that because we're writing it with another carrier, but if I weren't, I'd leave it just like that if it were going to renew with Penn National. So since it isn't, I want to get the header off of the marketing record, and that's what this link right here does. And it says that. Click here to use this policy to determine the policy term, carriers, policy number, policy description for the following. So click that and notice how the top of the screen changes. I also have the ability to use defaults, which means I want to use the commission defaults for this particular record that are in Nexsure. Okay, so if I want to pick up the commission defaults, I can leave it that way. There's also a copy there, so if I wanted to copy the commission defaults off the policy info tab, then I could copy it. Okay, I'm going to leave it at use defaults and then click next. And here we have a future policy. This is how future policies get created. Okay, and I also have an issuing and billing carrier here of auto owners. Okay, if I know what the policy number is already, then I can enter that in here. If I do change anything up here in the header, I want to click the Save Changes link. Okay, if I need to change anything in the form or want to check to make sure that my policy number got populated, you open up the form and just make sure you change the information. Okay, so everything looks good there. And I'll pretend I went through all of it and updated it. But that's just the same as we've been populating our form all along. I want to also maybe check my policy info tab, make sure that all that information is correct. Okay, I'm going to add a fee here. Don't think I added a fee on that one, so I want to put it in. We have a fee. Okay, you can choose what to put the fee on. Now before I only put it on the invoice, but you could choose by line of business if need be. Okay, that one's going to the branch. Let me stick to this one. This one's going to the carrier. This one's, they're charging $130. It's my information. Okay, so now this is good to go. So I go back to the underwriting tab. Oh, also you might need to check your assignment. If you weren't the one that created the record and you don't remember, or don't know what's back here, it never hurts to check this. It's always the primary assignment. When we create the invoice, that's where everything gets booked. It's on the primary assignment. So we always want to make sure we've got them in there. Most importantly is our branch and our department. Underwriting tab, and then we're going to enforce it. And to enforce it means get it off of a future status and make it enforce. Or if we need a binder, we can choose to create a binder. So let's see that. I click enforce. And then here, just like when we enforced a marketing record, you have the opportunity to create the binder. I'm just going to leave it like that and hit save. And now it's an enforced policy, but look at the mode now. It says RenewCo on it. RenewCo means it's a renewal to our agency, but it's a new company. So next thing you do, of course, is go to Transactions. You'd add new invoice, and I'm going to the tab. So this is just kind of repeating all that information that we've already done. Check it out, make sure it's right, and then you'll post it. You can deliver it, print it. Go back to the transaction summary. There's my invoice. I'm going to go to policies next, and I've got this policy sitting out here that we renewed, and if you look at it now, it has a green details icon, and it has a renewed status on it. Green details icon and a status of renewed. which tells us that it has been renewed, but it's still within its policy term. So if I didn't want to send this to history right now, I could wait and do it later. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. So I click the details icon, and then just like when we were in marketing, we click the history link, renewed here, and then of course the drop down box here just has those 3 options in it, and you cannot change that. So this was renewed with auto owners. When I save this, it's going to go in history. So there it is. If I go to policies, there aren't any out here anymore. The one that we just sent to history, sorry. So the one we sent to history is not here, but it's over here on the history tab. So if I click the history tab, we'll see it sitting right out here, renewed. Also, the marketing policies, I don't want to remind you, and I already showed you this, I know I showed you this, but I'll show you again just because I think it never hurts to see this again. You can send these to history once you're through with them. I showed you this when we got rid of our other marketing records. Right click, send to history, and then you can put your note in here. Or you could click the details icon and click the history link, just like we just did for the active policy. Okay, so for right now, my computer seems to be hung. I'm going to go ahead and let you go in and did everybody create a policy when we were going through that you could renew, or you want me to assign you one? Yeah. Red details icon means that the policy has expired. Okay. In this case, though, it has been renewed. But we got to send it to history. What's going to happen here, if you left click on that details icon, you're going to get a little pop-up box that says, hey, that policy's expired. Would you like for me to mark it as expired for you? Well, in the case that this has been renewed, the correct answer here is cancel, which means leave it alone, don't change it. If it truly is not going to renew, then yeah, you probably do want to mark it as expired. In that case, you'd click OK. So on that one, I just click cancel and I tell it to leave it alone, and it won't change the status. Then from there, you can send it to history. Okay, I'm going to let you do that for your practice there. I don't want to do it for you. I want you to practice with it. So if your details icon is red, remember if you renewed it to click cancel, or if you're gonna renew it. Last topic, audits. Okay, so now I've gotten a general liability audit from my carrier on my account. So I've got to get into the client's account. Now remember, if I just go to search, I can go into the details icon of my client here, and it'll open up the client record. Okay, I'm going to go to policies. Normally I'd probably just go straight to servicing to audit, to do the audit, but because I know a shortcut, I want to share that with you. I'm going to click on the history tab, and then we're going to right click on the details icon of this policy that we got an audit for. So if I right click and I click service, it's going to set the focus on that record when I click audit. And what that does is it saves you from having to click show, include history, and search for it. So the longer you're on Nexsure, the more records you'll have out there. So it's just going to make it fast and easy to get this audit done. When we are doing an annual audit, the date up here at the top is going to be the policy term effective date. That's what's going to go here. Oops. Got to be 2013. Okay, and again, I want to highlight the word process and put my year in there. And then this is an audit, and it's the annual GL policy. Down here in the notes, I would probably put all the details of the audit right there. So payroll was this much, premium increase this much, so that I can just look at it quickly and see it. I don't have to dig into the policy to see it. So I'd probably throw all that into the memo part of my action. My record's selected, so all I have to do here is click Generate Audit, and that's why the right click when you're doing the audit makes it much faster. The header up here, we're going to change the status if you want to. You don't have to. This is certainly just an option. But if you want to, you could say, hey, this is the final audit. Click the Save Changes link if you do put anything in there. And then open up your form here. If you want to document the audit in here, Nexsure made a copy of it, just like it does on all the other occasions like edits or endorsements. And I'm going to go into the Schedule of Hazards section, and that's where it is for the liability. And this one didn't happen to have anything added. So for whatever reason, maybe from the old system to the new system, we didn't have any apps out there. And so we just threw a placeholder in. We didn't put any data in. So I have the ability to come in here and put it in now, although it won't backdate it. It won't put it back into the other version. So this one is payroll. And when you're entering in your exposure here for the liability form, this one you need to make sure that you do enter in commas if it has to do with the money. Okay, so whatever this is going to determine what you put, you know, down below. This one is not going to automatically format like all the other fields do for premiums, limits, you know, that kind of thing. You can enter in any information that you've got in that audit that you received here. Clicking on Summary will save it and take me back to the summary view. There it is. Okay, and next up, I've got that done, and I want to go ahead and invoice it. So reminder of how we do that. Transactions tab, and I want to stick down here at tab level. I don't want to go up here. The reason I want to go here is because there's no guesswork about the policy. I'm right on it. So this makes it the easiest way to do it. Add new invoice. Okay, it's an audit. I want to make sure that that's what the bill type says. If it doesn't say that, you can always edit it and change it here. Okay, I'm going down here and then put a little note in down here too. Annual audit. And this is where you can change it if you need to. I'm sure I showed you that before, but never hurts to see it again. Pop on down to premiums. I'm invoicing the audit. All you're going to do here is edit. There's no adding anything new. Click the details icon. If it's a return premium, then you enter it with a minus in the amount. If it's an additional premium, then you're going to enter in the amount. Click OK. Well, I look up at the header and it's $1,000. It ought to be 200 and something, so that's not right. So I look down here and I go, oh, you know what, I left the property one in there. You can do one of two things here. You can remove it by clicking the remove icon, or all you have to do is click the details icon and put a 0 in. Now it looks good. The fee's still in there. I don't need that fee. Well, I'm just going to remove that. I certainly don't need it. $253. That is correct. That's what my audit paper says right now. Go on down. It's got my agency commission. It's got my other commission. Now, we've removed some of those lines. Let's just take a look at it. So I can click the preview link. Don't forget that really a best practice for your invoices is to preview it. And you can see that it only has that one line on it, even though I left the property on there, but I put a 0 in there. And there's my little note at the bottom. I still can't print it because it's not posted yet. If I have to edit it, go ahead and click on whatever link it is that you need to edit, and then you can change it. I'm going to click post now. Click OK. And it's going to post it. You can deliver it if you need to. If you discover you've made a mistake, you can reverse and rebill. Reverse and rebill is going to give you a copy of the invoice and let you edit it. I'm going to click on transaction summary, and that takes me out. I don't see the invoice. Now I want you to remember that it could be outside of the date range. Click the show link over here. Clear, search, and there it is. You can keep track of these audits from two ways. If I go back to the underwriting tab, if we are expecting an additional premium, don't forget that you can click the details icon and open this up so that you can make sure that you receive your money. Okay, and then put in the due date. So I really want them to reply to me in a few days. So I might just put a little note in here. Oh, that's probably not a good day, huh? Nobody's going to want to reply to me by then, the 25th. Let's save it. If we go home and we look at this screen, guess what there is right here? An audits screen, which means that Nexsure is going to keep the audits, if they're still sitting out there as unposted, on this home audit screen. Probably the last page. Yeah, there it is. Okay, and if I had my action that was open, that's going to be on your home action screen. This page is telling you all the things that you need to be taken care of. So let's go down here and see if it's down here. And there it is. And all of this, these actions showing up on the screen, or any of the screens, is dependent on however you have your date range set on these screens, or who they're assigned to. So please keep that in mind. Now once we get paid, certainly we're going to go in and close our action. I could do that right from here. And remember that I showed you yesterday, you can right click and mark as closed, and it'll close it. So that's one way, one thing I could do. And I want to go into the audit. So if I'm on the home screen, I know it's here. I can pop right into that underwriting screen by clicking the white details icon. Now if you're already on the client to get there, so I'm on the client, I click the blue details icon, click on policies, and because it's in history, it's going to be on the history tab. And there it is. Open it up, click the details icon, and we're going to post it. Done. And it'll stop tracking it when we post it. So we're finished with that, and notice my action is closed, and it even says on there closed. And if I open it up, because I right clicked on it, right in there. Anybody have any questions for me on audits? Okay, if there are no questions, that is all for today.